Hey everyone, how are y'all doing today? I really hope y'all are having a great day on this absolutely beautiful day. Even if, you think not, then hey, you're still breathing, so it could always be worse. So just, appreciate it. But yeah, so I just wanted to start off by saying that my plans have changed a little bit. I'm not going to be on the farm for the 2 months that I thought. Actually, on August 1st, I'll be leaving. Doing a work exchange program through this site called Workaway. If you don't know what work exchanges are or Workaway, I highly recommend it. Workaway is my favorite one, and it's a really awesome way to travel around the world for pretty cheaply, learn some great things, and meet some great people. But yeah, so I'll be doing that, and then I'll be coming back in October, uh, back here in Navadanya, because there's so many events going on, and I just really think I'll get a lot more out of the experience. So I'm super thankful and super happy because I'm super excited for it all. But yeah. So aside from that, that's kind of all that changed. But yeah, and also about the farm tour. Um, I'm kind of debated on it, but I'm pretty sure I'll, film some of it while I'm here, but whenever I get back, then I'll film kind of the rest of it to, put together a good video, because whenever I get back, it'll be harvest season for the rice, and I just really, really want to show y'all that, because it'll be so cool. There's gonna be just so many different colors of rice. There'll be like black rice, red rice, pink rice, just even, like the regular yellow rice. So yeah, it's gonna be so cool. So yeah, later on I'll post that. But yeah, and so moving on, I just really wanted to make, a video about my first day when I got to India, before I, kind of get on with it. And I didn't make this earlier because like I said in my other video, I was just really wanting to experience everything, and, really having a good time, really be present. And, I've had some good downtime, and, of course, I'll have downtime and stuff throughout the trip and really enjoy it. But, I feel like I've adapted to the culture, everything, and I'm ready to get on with the YouTube. So here I am. I'll start trying to make as many videos as I can and start sharing, whatever I feel is worth sharing with y'all. And, there's anything y'all want me to show on my journey, anything, y'all can, leave it in the comments below, and I'll try my best. But, yeah, so, like I said, getting on my first day. Man, it was just so crazy. Definitely was not prepared. When I went to Arizona State for a semester, I had a bunch of Indian friends. Pretty much all of my friends were Indian. And they had all kind of Indian events because there's a huge Indian population at the school. And, I thought I was kind of, I guess more versed in the culture than, the average person who would just decide to come to India for the first time. But yeah, nothing can prepare you for India. Nothing. So, yeah, as soon as I got here, I flew into New Delhi. But I only stayed in the station, in like the airport. I didn't go out because I was flying to Dehradun, which is, kind of the place I'm nearby, which is, again, like I said in the other video, kind of near the border of Nepal. It's in the state of Uttarakhand. So it's, up there in North India. But, yeah, so I was going to fly to Dehradun, and I was going to stay with, like, a couch, I was going to try out couch surfing and stay with the host in Dehradun. And so, I tried to call him, but I couldn't get the Wi-Fi because you have to, enter your phone number and they send you a text, but I had no Indian SIM, and I was like, crap. But, I asked this really sweet woman, and, she did the text code for me, and I got the Wi-Fi. So I called him on WhatsApp, and he was just like, oh, hey, brother, like, how are you? And I was like, oh, I'm great. And he's like, telling him that, I'm going to be in Dehradun in, like, 2 hours or so. And he was just like, yeah, I'm in Hardwar with my family, just come down here and meet me. And we'll stay with my family for the night. And I was just like, oh, okay. Because, I was expecting to just, kind of go to Dehradun, get a cab there, and, kind of chill for the night and experience it. But now I was like, shit, like, I have to find a way to get to Hardwar and stuff. And he was like, "Hey brother, you're right. Your voice changed." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to figure this out." And he's like, "No problem, I'll figure it out." And so yeah, so after I got off the call, they called for Dehradun, and I wasn't too sure, and so I asked this girl. I was like, "Hey, did they just call for Dehradun?" And she's like, "Yeah." And we ended up talking more, and she's a super cool girl named Justine from Australia. Super cool girl. And so, yeah, so we were talking more, and she's actually going to Rishikesh for a yoga teacher training, which is like 30 minutes away from Hardwar, and altogether Hardwar is probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Dehradun. So she was actually having like a cab from the a yoga studio set up a cab to pick her up at the airport, and she was like, "Yeah, you could probably just get a ride with me." And I was like, "Oh, like thank you, universe." But yeah, so we were talking more, and she ended up being super cool. And yeah, she does like a lot of like healings and things like that, and now she's certified yoga teacher and stuff. So I'll leave like the link to her I don't know, just her contact below, so you can check her out. Highly recommend it. She's an awesome girl. But yeah, so we didn't sit together on the flight, but as soon as we got off, we got the cab to Rishikesh. So yeah, we're going to Rishikesh, and it's so funny because one of my good friends, Vishnu, back in at Arizona State, he would always say, "Man, in the U.S. it's so boring, like on the roads." He's like, "In India, like every time you get on the road, it's just an adventure." And like I'd laugh, but I never truly understood what he meant until I got to India, because like it is so crazy. Pretty much the only rule is just stoplights. People are just flying everywhere, no speed limits. The lines on the road don't mean anything. But it was so crazy, but it was really nice, the view and everything, and there's some great people. But yeah, and so we got to Rishikesh. Well, right before we got there, we stopped at ATM, and I got 200 rupees because it was only supposed to cost about 40 for the bus. So I just didn't want any more on me. So we got there, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I could bring you to the bus station, but it'd be 200 rupees." And I was like, "Shit, that's all I have." But Justine, she was like, "Oh, I got it. Don't worry about it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like such a sweet woman." But yeah, so dropped me off at the bus station, which wasn't really a bus station. There's a few buses on the side of the road, and so I hopped on, and it was really funny because it's kind of like a short bus, but had no door, no lights, or anything. It was really old, kind of not working well bus. Like when we'd kind of stop or slow down, it would like almost like cut off and stuff. It was funny. But yeah, but whenever I stepped on, the bus was packed. There was like this little half seat in the front with this older woman, and so I sat with her. But so usually on a bus, there's a driver, and there's a guy who'll kind of get people to get on the bus, and he's like takes the money and stuff. And so like we kept going, and he was just like, "Hardwar, Hardwar," and people just kept coming and coming, and people were just sandwiched in there, standing up in seats. People all the way in the front by the driver, sitting on the stairs. Like it was completely packed. Like there had to be about 40 people in that bus. Don't know how, but it was just so funny. But yeah, and so we're on the way to Hardwar, and through the time I was sitting there like squished with all my bag and all my belongings that I have, and I was like, okay, this is okay. I don't really know what's gonna happen or how I'm gonna call my friends and stuff, but it's all good. And deep breathing and trying to just stay calm. It was a really nice ride, and so we started stopping a few times right before we got to Hardwar, and I was confused, and eventually like the old one was kind of like get out the seat, and so I just I hopped over to the next seat, and there was just this guy there, and so thank God he spoke a little bit of English, and I was like, "So you getting off at the stop?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I just followed him, and as soon as we got off at the stop, I asked to borrow the phone to call Piyush, my host. And so we called like 3 times, didn't answer, and he's like, "It's okay, let's wait a little bit." So we waited, called 2 more times, didn't answer, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, I'm in the middle of India, don't know, it's not my country, don't speak the language, I don't know where the hell I am. So I was just like, oh gosh. And But yeah, so eventually he was like, hey, it may be the phone, like, so let's just ask someone else. So he asked this other nice guy who let us borrow his phone, and my friend answered, and he ended up being like 1 minute down the road, and the guy, told him where we were at and everything, and he pulled up, and I got in. I was just like, I shook their hands before I left. I was like, thank you so much. But some people in India could be so nice, so nice. So yeah, and then we kind of went to like this mall after, and met some of his friends and ate some spicy corn, and it was pretty good. And then yeah, so we went back to his family's house, and I met his family, and man, they were so nice. Like, they're the sweetest people. Yeah, so Piyush and his dad had to go to this event because one of his dad's friends' son was getting engaged. So they went, and before we left, Piyush was just like, hey, just ask my mom anything if you need anything. And I was like, okay, cool. And he also had the grandmother that lived with him. She's like 86 or 87. She's a super cute old woman. But yeah, and so I felt really bad though, because it was just only me and her in the living room because the mom was starting to cook. And she was trying to speak to me in Hindi and everything, and really trying to have a conversation, but felt so bad because I was just like, I'm sorry, like, I know Hindi. And yeah, I just felt really bad, and I could tell there was a point where she was kind of getting aggravated, and I was just like, but yeah, so like, we were just kind of sitting in silence, and so I got up, and I like went to the kitchen. I was asking his mom, like, 'cause she was making like roti or chapati, and it's basically like an Indian tortilla, but super good, way better than a tortilla. And yeah, so like I asked him like, oh, how you make it and stuff, because I love cooking, and she kind of seemed like nervous, she was just really vague, and so I kind of caught it, so like I just sat back in the living room, and after she like came sit down shortly after, and me and her were talking about like families, the difference between India and the US, and because like in India it's super family oriented. Many of the families live together, like extended family, and also it's just like kids and stuff just normally like whatever the parent says, you respect that and you do it. Whereas in the US it's kind of more rebellious. The families are more individual, separated. So they were talking about it like that, and she was like, because like whenever I went to the kitchen, the grandma was kind of like screaming at her, and so she was like, yeah, like right now my mom's scolding me, and like for you being in the kitchen. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, because like in Hinduism, because they're Hindu, like the kitchen's like a sacred space, whereas what I'm used to in South Louisiana with the Cajun culture, it's like the kitchen's like the hangout, like the kitchen is like usually connected to like the dining room or the table wherever you eat, and it's kind of like a big communal thing, like grandma or mom's cooking, and it's like you go in, maybe grandma let you taste the food and show you how to cook, and like it's a way different vibe. Whereas again, like Hindu, it's like a sacred space, so that was really just awkward, and it was just a weird situation to be in. I didn't like it. So if you ever welcomed into an Indian home, just don't step into the kitchen. Yeah, just it's a respect thing. But yeah, so after that, they got home and we were eating, and man, the food was so good. But his mom fed me so much, like, because usually it's like the plate, and then you'll have like your rice and chapati or roti. And then there's like 3 little cups with like some sabji, which is like a vegetable something, and then dal, which is kind of like a lentil curry thing, and like the other thing was like some potato something. And so I just kept eating, and she just kept putting more, like, oh, more dal or more sabji, and like I just kept more chapati, and I was just like, oh crap, like but it's to the point where like everyone stopped eating. She kept serving me, and like I was so full, and like I didn't want to be disrespectful, but it was like painful, because like, to be completely real, I was traveling for 2 days and I was constipated, and she was just kept feeding me, and it was very uncomfortable. Not great. But yeah, and so like, man, it's to the point where I started sweating, and I was about to throw up, and like I was like, okay, like I'm sorry, like I'm full. And she's like, oh, you don't have to be nervous. This is like, you are just like our son. Like, this is your home. Like, be be just like you're in your own home. And she just kept serving me more, and I was like, oh my god, like I wanted to cry. But she finally like stopped and ate, and you know, it was completely out of love. You know, that was completely out of love. And but yeah, so I mean, after that it was fine, and the next morning she did the same thing. But you know, there were some amazing people, super great, and my host Piyush was so nice. If you're ever in Dehradun and use couch surfing, look up Piyush, super awesome guy. But yeah, so it was just a really crazy day. And yeah, so that's kind of it. I just wanted to share it with y'all. It was crazy, but I'm here now. Mama, like my family, you don't have to freak out. I'm good now. But yeah, so hope y'all enjoyed kind of my first day. And like I said, I'll start trying to post more and really get into it more, because I'm really feeling the times right now. So hope to share a lot more with y'all, and see y'all soon. Peace, love, and namaste.